The final session of the Galactic Council began in a way no one had expected, with complete silence. Every representative, from the most ancient to the newest observers, waited as Kate took her place at the center of the chamber one last time. "You've all been asking why," she began, her voice carrying through the vast space. "Why did I choose to present human empathy as our greatest achievement? Why not our technology, our art, or our scientific understanding? The answer is simple: because empathy is what will save us all." She activated a holographic display, showing the galaxy in its entirety. Points of light marked where civilizations had risen and fallen over millions of years. "Look at the pattern," she said. "Every civilization that achieved great technological power but lost its capacity for empathy eventually destroyed itself. Not through war, usually. They simply lost the will to continue. They forgot why they were advancing in the first place." The council leader's light dimmed slightly. "You believe we are at risk of such a fate?" "I know you are," Kate replied. "Because you've already started down that path. You create wonderful things, but you've forgotten how to feel wonder. You extend life, but you've forgotten how to live. You've achieved immortality, but you've forgotten why life is precious." She walked through the hologram, letting the stars shine through her. "Humans are young. We make mistakes. We let our emotions cloud our judgment sometimes, but we never forgot how to care, how to love, how to feel awe at the universe around us." A young Mind Collective member floated forward. "But how does this help us advance? How does emotion aid progress?" Kate smiled. "Let me show you." She displayed a series of images. Humans working together to solve impossible problems, sacrificing for strangers, fighting for causes bigger than themselves. We advance because we care. We innovate because we want to help others. We explore because we feel wonder. Our emotions don't hold us back. They drive us forward. The chamber erupted in discussion, but Kate raised her hand for silence. "There's more. We've studied your histories. Every major galactic crisis came not from lack of technology, but from lack of understanding between species. You couldn't solve these problems because you couldn't truly comprehend each other's perspectives." Dell's skin showed patterns of deep realization. "And humans can. We try," Kate said. "We're not perfect at it, but we never stop trying to understand others, to feel what they feel, to help even when there's no logical reason to do so." She showed one final image, a human child sharing their lunch with a hungry classmate. "This is how we solve problems, not just with technology, but with kindness. Not just with logic, but with love. Not just with power, but with understanding." The council chamber was silent again, but this time it was a silence full of possibility. "I propose," Kate said, her voice strong and clear, "that Earth be granted full membership in the Galactic Council. Not because we're technologically advanced, but because we have something you need. The ability to feel, to care, to remind you why advancement matters in the first place." The council leader rose, its light pulsing with unusual emotion. "This is unprecedented. Never has a species been admitted based on emotional capability." "Then perhaps," Kate replied, "it's time to set a new precedent." The vote was unanimous. Something that hadn't happened in 10,000 years. Earth was accepted not as a junior member, but as a full partner in galactic civilization. As the session ended, representatives from across the galaxy approached Kate, not with condescension, but with hope. They wanted to learn, to understand, to feel again. Dell found her later, its skin showing patterns she recognized as joy. "You knew this would happen, didn't you? From the very beginning." Kate nodded. "Humans have a saying. The heart has reasons that reason cannot know. We knew what the galaxy needed wasn't more technology. It needed to remember how to feel." Looking out at the stars, Kate smiled. Humanity's journey among the stars was just beginning, but they had already changed the galaxy in a way no weapon or technology ever could. They had reminded the most advanced beings in existence of the most basic truth of all, that the greatest achievements come not from what you can do, but from how much you can care. The archive of galactic achievements stretched endlessly in every direction. Kate sat at a floating desk, surrounded by holographic displays showing the countless wonders created by various species. She had been there for 6 hours straight, studying and taking notes. "You missed the morning gathering," Del said, appearing suddenly beside her. The quantum lords of Sector 7 demonstrated their ability to reverse entropy in controlled environments. Kate barely looked up from her research. "Interesting, but I've seen something even better here." Del's 3 eyes blinked in sequence. "Better than controlling the fundamental forces of the universe." "Do explain." Instead of answering directly, Kate swept her hand through one of the displays, bringing up an ancient record. 3 million years ago, the mist dwellers of the Carina Nebula created a device that could reshape planets instantly. Everyone praised them, called them the most advanced species in the galaxy. She paused, looking at Del. "Do you know what happened to them?" "They vanished," Del admitted. "No one knows why." "They vanished because they couldn't solve their own social problems, all that technology, and they couldn't figure out how to live with each other." Kate pulled up another record. "Same with the crystal harmonics, and the star shapers, and dozen other advanced civilizations." Del's skin darkened with concern. "You seem very focused on failures rather than achievements. The Council expects each representative to showcase their species' greatest technological marvel. What could Earth possibly?" "I know what I'm going to present," Kate interrupted, standing up. "But first, I need to understand why these civilizations fell. Really understand." The next few days passed in a blur of research. While other representatives practiced their grand demonstrations, the Mind Collective preparing to show off their planetary consciousness network, the Void Dancers rehearsing their gravity-defying engineering feats, Kate dug deeper into the archive. "Your presentation is in 3 days," Del reminded her, finding her once again buried in historical records. "The Council will expect something substantial." Kate looked up, dark circles under her eyes, but a fierce determination in her gaze. "Tell me, Del, in all your years as a mentor, have you ever seen a species succeed long-term through technology alone?" The question seemed to catch Del off guard. Its 4 arms moved in an uncertain pattern. "Technology is the measure of advancement. It's how we determine a species' worth to galactic society." "Is it?" Kate pulled up an image of Earth. "We're young. Our technology is basic compared to others. But we're still here, still growing, still learning. Meanwhile, I've counted 47 advanced civilizations that destroyed themselves despite having technology that would make our greatest scientists weep with envy." Del's skin rippled with frustration. "What exactly are you planning to present?" "The Council won't be impressed by philosophy." Kate smiled, but it wasn't the submissive expression Del had come to expect from her. It was the smile of someone who knew something others didn't. "I'm going to show them something they've never seen before. Something more powerful than any technology." "And what would that be?" "You'll have to wait and see." Kate turned back to her research. "But I promise you this, they won't forget it." As she worked late into the night, Kate thought about Earth, about humanity's brief but intense history, about all their mistakes and triumphs, their fears and hopes. The aliens thought humans were primitive because they looked at the wrong things. They measured advancement by the wrong standards. She glanced at her tablet, where she'd written a simple question: what makes a civilization truly great? The answer she'd found wasn't in any of the grand technological achievements archived around her. It was in the stories of those who had failed, in the gaps between the triumphs, in the one thing that every fallen civilization had somehow lost along the way. And humans had it in abundance. Now she just had to figure out how to show them. The grand presentation hall hummed with energy as representatives from across the galaxy gathered for their demonstrations. Floating platforms carried spectators to their seats, while the air shimmered with protective fields designed to contain any dangerous experiments. Kate sat in the front row, watching as one by one species showcased their achievements, Her simple notebook drew curious stares from those around her. While others had neural interfaces and quantum computers, she preferred the old way. It helped her think. The Mind Collective went first. Their representative, a swirling cloud of psychic energy, demonstrated their newest creation, a device that could transfer consciousness between bodies. The audience gasped as a volunteer's mind was temporarily moved into a crystal sculpture, making it dance and sing. "Primitive species may wish to look away," announced the representative of the Void Dancers. This demonstration might overwhelm less developed minds. Their eyes flickered toward Kate as they proceeded to fold space itself, creating a miniature galaxy in the center of the hall. Kate kept watching, kept taking notes. The condescension didn't bother her anymore. She had something better planned. The Star Shapers presented next, showing off a weapon that could extinguish suns with a thought. Of course, their representative added, "We would never use such power. We merely create these things because we can." More meaningful looks were cast in Kate's direction. Dell appeared beside her during a break. "There's still time to modify your presentation. Perhaps we could arrange a demonstration of Earth's nuclear fusion technology. It's primitive, but at least it's something tangible." "I'm sticking to my plan," Kate said, not looking up from her notes. "The Quantum Lords are about to demonstrate time manipulation. You're going to follow that with words." Dell's skin had taken on a sickly pale color from worry. Kate finally looked up. "Tell me, Dell, what happens after these presentations? Does anyone actually use these technologies to help others?" Before Dell could answer, the Quantum Lords began their demonstration. They created a bubble where time ran backward, showing how they could potentially undo disasters. The audience erupted in applause, though Kate noticed how quickly the Lords shut down their device. They weren't as in control as they pretended to be. More presentations followed. Artificial planets, consciousness uploading, matter replication. Each species tried to outdo the last. The air grew thick with competitive tension as billions of years of technological advancement were paraded before the Council. Finally, it was Earth's turn. Representing the planet Earth, the announcer's voice echoed, carrying a hint of resignation. "Kate Miller will now present humanity's greatest achievement." Kate stood and walked to the center of the hall. No floating platform, no neural interface, no reality-bending technology, just a human woman in a simple uniform, facing the most powerful beings in the galaxy. The silence was deafening. Everyone waited for her to activate some hidden device or reveal some surprising technology. Instead, she pulled out her notebook. Murmurs of disbelief rippled through the crowd. Some representatives actually got up to leave, assuming the presentation would be a waste of time. "Before I begin," Kate said, her voice clear and strong, "I want you all to think about something. Every species here has shown us what they can do to the universe. I'm going to show you what the universe has done to us, and how we responded." She opened her notebook, and as she did, the lights in the hall dimmed slightly. Not from technology, but from the natural response of the building's ambient intelligence to the sudden focused attention of thousands of beings. The greatest minds in the galaxy leaned forward, despite themselves. Even those who had started to leave paused. There was something in Kate's voice, something they weren't used to hearing. It was confidence, but not the kind that came from technological superiority. It was something else entirely. And then she began to tell them about humanity's greatest achievement. And nothing in the galaxy would ever be quite the same. "Our greatest achievement," Kate began, "isn't something we built. It's something we became." She touched a control on her simple tablet, and the hall's display system activated, showing an image that made several alien species recoil in confusion. It was a human hand reaching out to help a wounded animal. "This is Officer Tom Brown, a police officer from a small town on Earth. He found this injured wolf, one of our planet's predators, trapped in ice. Instead of leaving it to die, he spent 6 hours in freezing conditions to save it." Kate paused, letting the image sink in. The wolf could have killed him. It was not his responsibility. He gained nothing from this act. The hall was silent. Several representatives exchanged puzzled looks. But this is not unusual for humans, Kate continued, changing the image. Now they saw a group of people forming a human chain in flood waters to save a stranger's child. We do this all the time. We risk our lives for others, not just our own species, but for any living thing that needs help. A representative from the Quantum Lords raised an appendage. This seems highly inefficient. Why not create a drone for such tasks? Kate smiled. We have drones, but that's not the point. The point is that we choose to help personally, to connect, to feel. She showed another image, an elderly woman sharing her food with a stray cat. We form emotional bonds with anything capable of suffering. Sometimes, even with things that aren't alive at all. The next image showed a child crying over a broken toy robot. Several aliens shifted uncomfortably in their seats. You've all shown us amazing technologies today, Kate said, walking slowly across the stage. But let me ask you something. When was the last time any of you cried for something that wasn't your own species? When did you last feel pain for a stranger? When did you risk your life for something that could never repay you? The silence grew heavier. Dell's skin had turned an unusual shade, reflecting deep thought or disturbance. Humans name their cleaning robots, Kate continued. We talk to our plants. We create stories where inanimate objects have feelings. We fight wars over ideas. We sacrifice ourselves for beliefs. Each statement was accompanied by images, simple, powerful moments of human empathy and connection. A crystalline being near the front spoke up. This is your species' greatest achievement. Emotional instability. No, Kate replied firmly. Our greatest achievement is that we never lost our ability to care as we advanced. We didn't trade our empathy for technology. We kept both. She brought up a final image. Earth seen from space. Look at our world. It's not the most advanced. Our cities aren't the biggest. Our technology isn't the most impressive. But on that planet, right now, millions of humans are helping others simply because they can. The Mind Collective's representative pulsed with agitation. This is not an achievement. This is weakness. Advanced species move beyond such primitive emotional responses. Kate's voice grew softer, but somehow more powerful. Is it weakness to feel pain for others? Is it primitive to sacrifice yourself for something you believe in? Tell me, how many of your advanced civilizations have fallen because they couldn't understand why they should care about anything beyond themselves? The question hung in the air like a physical thing. Many representatives suddenly found themselves unable to meet her gaze. Humanity's greatest achievement, Kate concluded, is that we built our civilization on compassion as much as concrete. We reached the stars not just with our technology, but with our hearts intact. And that, she closed her notebook with a soft but final sound. That is why we'll still be here long after civilizations built only on technology have fallen. As she walked back to her seat, the hall remained absolutely silent. No applause, no dismissive whispers. Just the heavy weight of realization as some of the most powerful beings in the galaxy began to question everything they thought they knew about advancement. Dell was waiting at her seat, all three eyes wide. That was unexpected. Kate sat down, hiding a small smile. We haven't even gotten to the best part yet. After a brief recess, the council reconvened. The atmosphere had shifted noticeably. Where before there had been casual dismissal of the human representative, now there was an undercurrent of unease. The images Kate had shown seemed to linger in the air like ghosts. We will now open the floor for questions, announced the council leader, a being made of pure light. Representative Miller, please step forward. Kate returned to the central platform. She could see the confusion and discomfort on many alien faces, those that had faces at least. Her presentation had disturbed them in ways they hadn't expected. A member of the Star Shapers spoke first. You claim humans form emotional bonds with non-sentient creatures. How does this benefit your species' advancement? Let me show you, Kate replied. She displayed a new image. our research facility where scientists worked alongside dolphins to understand ocean ecosystems. Because we connect emotionally with other species, we learn from them. Our empathy drives our innovation. Another representative, a hovering cloud of plasma, pulsed with skepticism. But surely this emotional attachment interferes with logical decision-making. Actually, it enhances it. Kate brought up another image, an ancient cave painting. From our earliest days, humans have tried to understand how others feel. We call it putting yourself in someone else's shoes. This ability helps us predict behavior, solve conflicts, and create solutions that work for everyone, not just ourselves. The questions continued, each one probing deeper into the peculiar human characteristic of universal empathy. Kate explained how humans had developed entire industries around caring for animals, how they reformed their societies to protect the vulnerable, how they would often value emotional connections over material gain. But what about efficiency? Demanded a member of the Mind Collective. Your species spends enormous resources caring for things that provide no measurable return. Kate's response was quiet but firm. What's the efficiency of a civilization that can travel between stars but can't feel compassion for a suffering creature? What's the value of technology without the wisdom to use it wisely? The hall erupted in murmurs. Several representatives began rapid discussions in their native languages, their universal translators struggling to keep up with the emotional content of their debates. Dell, who had been watching from the side, stepped forward. You mentioned earlier that humans anthropomorphize machines. Explain this behavior. Kate smiled and showed a clip of a child comforting a robotic toy that had fallen. We give our machines names. We thank our computers. We feel bad for robots that get damaged. This isn't just sentiment. It's led to breakthroughs in artificial intelligence and human-machine interaction that more logical approaches missed. Because you feel for the machines. Dell's skin rippled with confusion. Because we understand that intelligence without empathy is dangerous. Everything we create, we try to imbue with some understanding of emotion and ethics. A crystalline being chimed in. Our records show that humans often sacrifice efficiency and resources to preserve things they consider beautiful or meaningful. How can such behavior be considered advanced? Because advancement isn't just about what you can build, Kate explained. It's about why you build it and what you're willing to sacrifice to protect what matters. She showed them images of humans protecting endangered species, preserving ancient forests, restoring damaged artworks. Each example demonstrated how humans would often choose the harder path if they felt it was the right thing to do. The questions continued, but something had changed in how they were asked. The condescension was gone, replaced by genuine curiosity, and in some cases, what seemed like longing. As the session drew to a close, the council leader spoke again. Representative Miller, you have given us much to consider. Perhaps. There was a pause that seemed to stretch for ages. Perhaps we have been measuring advancement by the wrong metrics. Kate nodded, but she wasn't done yet. The most important part of her presentation was still to come. The part where she would explain why this human characteristic might be the key to the galaxy's future. Looking at the troubled faces around her, she knew they were finally ready to hear it. The Galactic Council chambers erupted into chaos after the session ended. Representatives huddled in groups, their discussions growing increasingly animated. Kate watched from her observation point as centuries of established wisdom began to crack. Your presentation has caused quite a disturbance, Dell said, approaching her. Its skin now displayed complex patterns that Kate had never seen before. The younger representatives are particularly affected. Kate noticed a group of junior delegates from various species approaching her. Their body language, those who had bodies, showed both eagerness and uncertainty. A young void dancer spoke first. Is it true that humans mourn their deactivated machines? That you hold ceremonies for them? Yes, Kate replied. On Mars, we built a memorial for our first rover, Opportunity. Its last message was, my battery is low, and it's getting dark. People still leave flowers there. The group exchanged glances. One of them, a being of pure energy, pulsed rapidly, but it was just a machine. It wasn't even truly intelligent by today's standards. That's exactly the point, Kate explained. We don't help or care about things because they're advanced. We do it because we recognize the value in all forms of existence. News of Kate's presentation spread through the Council's communication networks. Species that hadn't attended began requesting recordings. The Council's leadership, faced with unprecedented interest, called an emergency session. "This is highly irregular," the Council leader announced to the packed chamber. "Never in our history has a presentation from a developing species caused such disruption." A senior star shaper rose. "The humans' words have made our younger members question our basic principles. Some are even suggesting we revise our definition of advancement." Kate stood calmly as debates raged around her. She noticed how the younger aliens had begun displaying more emotional behaviors. Some were even attempting to comfort others who seemed distressed. "Look at what's happening," she said quietly to Del. "They're not just talking about emotions. They're beginning to feel them more openly." Del's skin showed complex patterns of confusion and wonder. Some species are already requesting to send observers to Earth. They want to study human empathy firsthand. The Council chamber's atmosphere shifted as more representatives began sharing personal stories, something previously considered inappropriate in formal sessions. A Mind Collective member admitted to feeling attachment to certain stars they had studied. A Quantum Lord described experiencing sadness when they had to end a time observation of an ancient civilization. "What have you done?" Del asked, watching the unprecedented display of emotion among the galaxy's most logical species. "I showed them what they'd lost," Kate replied. "Or rather, what they'd suppressed in their pursuit of technological advancement." A group of the galaxy's most prestigious scientists approached Kate. Their leader, a being made of crystalline mathematics, spoke with unusual hesitation. "We request your assistance in understanding how emotional intelligence could be integrated into our research methodologies." Kate smiled. "Of course. But first, you need to understand that you can't study emotion purely through logic. You have to be willing to feel it yourself." The revolution spread beyond the Council chambers. Reports came in of species across the galaxy beginning to question their purely technological approach to advancement. Some had already started programs to reintegrate emotional consideration into their decision-making processes. "The Council leadership is concerned," Del informed Kate as the day drew to a close. "They fear this could destabilize our established order." "Or it could make it stronger," Kate countered. "A society that combines technological advancement with emotional intelligence would be more stable, not less." As she prepared for her final presentation, the one where she would explain her true purpose, Kate reflected on the changes she'd already witnessed. The mighty Galactic Council, masters of time and space, were learning something new from a species they had considered primitive, and it was just the beginning. Looking out at the stars, Kate smiled. Humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy wouldn't be technology or weapons or faster-than-light travel. It would be teaching advanced civilizations how to feel again. The revolution had begun. Tomorrow, she would show them why it was necessary for the survival of all species. The final session of the Galactic Council began in a way no one had expected, with complete silence. Every representative, from the most ancient to the newest observers, waited as Kate took her place at the center of the chamber one last time. "You've all been asking why," she began, her voice carrying through the vast space. "Why did I choose to present human empathy as our greatest achievement? Why not our technology, our art, or our scientific understanding? The answer is simple: because empathy is what will save us all." She activated a holographic display, showing the galaxy in its entirety. Points of light marked where civilizations had risen and fallen over millions of years. "Look at the pattern," she said. "Every civilization that achieved great technological power but lost its capacity for empathy eventually destroyed itself. Not through war, usually. They simply lost the will to continue. They forgot why they were advancing in the first place." The Council leader's light dimmed slightly. "You believe we are at risk of such a fate." "I know you are," Kate replied. Because you've already started down that path. You create wonderful things, but you've forgotten how to feel wonder. You extend life, but you've forgotten how to live. You've achieved immortality, but you've forgotten why life is precious. She walked through the hologram, letting the stars shine through her. Humans are young. We make mistakes. We let our emotions cloud our judgment sometimes, but we never forgot how to care, how to love, how to feel awe at the universe around us. A young Mind Collective member floated forward. But how does this help us advance? How does emotion aid progress? Kate smiled. Let me show you. She displayed a series of images. Humans working together to solve impossible problems, sacrificing for strangers, fighting for causes bigger than themselves. We advance because we care. We innovate because we want to help others. We explore because we feel wonder. Our emotions don't hold us back. They drive us forward. The chamber erupted in discussion, but Kate raised her hand for silence. There's more. We've studied your histories. Every major galactic crisis came not from lack of technology, but from lack of understanding between species. You couldn't solve these problems because you couldn't truly comprehend each other's perspectives. Dell's skin showed patterns of deep realization. And humans can. We try, Kate said. We're not perfect at it, but we never stop trying to understand others, to feel what they feel, to help even when there's no logical reason to do so. She showed one final image, a human child sharing their lunch with a hungry classmate. This is how we solve problems, not just with technology, but with kindness. Not just with logic, but with love. Not just with power, but with understanding. The council chamber was silent again, but this time it was a silence full of possibility. I propose, Kate said, her voice strong and clear, that Earth be granted full membership in the Galactic Council. Not because we're technologically advanced, but because we have something you need. The ability to feel, to care, to remind you why advancement matters in the first place. The council leader rose, its light pulsing with unusual emotion. This is unprecedented. Never has a species been admitted based on emotional capability. Then perhaps, Kate replied, it's time to set a new precedent. The vote was unanimous. Something that hadn't happened in 10,000 years. Earth was accepted not as a junior member, but as a full partner in galactic civilization. As the session ended, representatives from across the galaxy approached Kate, not with condescension, but with hope. They wanted to learn, to understand, to feel again. Dell found her later, its skin showing patterns she recognized as joy. You knew this would happen, didn't you? From the very beginning. Kate nodded. Humans have a saying. The heart has reasons that reason cannot know. We knew what the galaxy needed wasn't more technology. It needed to remember how to feel. Looking out at the stars, Kate smiled. Humanity's journey among the stars was just beginning, but they had already changed the galaxy in a way no weapon or technology ever could. They had reminded the most advanced beings in existence of the most basic truth of all, that the greatest achievements come not from what you can do, but from how much you can care.